one of the funniest things about Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
She was so you mentioned her calling Joe Biden.
Oh my gosh, at this.
I know.
God.
You didn't get you laughed before anybody had a chance to see it.
I don't care that I get privy information. So
That's right.
So this is go ahead.
You do it.
All right, I'll do it. So this is an article from The Hill saying, from Harris, I believe Biden's accusers. So that means she was coming out that and agreeing with these people that were accusing Biden of misconduct, sexual misconduct.
Creepy Joe.
Creepy Joe, yeah.
Well, let's.
My goodness.
I'm sorry, man. Let me read this first before I annihilate Kamala. Mm-hmm. Senator Kamala Harris said Tuesday that she believes women who say they felt uncomfortable after receiving unwanted touching from former Vice President Biden. I believe them and I respect them being able to tell their story and having the courage to do it. The California senator added that Biden will need to decide for himself whether to run for president. He's going to have to make the decision for himself. I wouldn't tell him what to do, Harris said. In recent days, several women have come forward to allege that Biden has touched them inappropriately. Former Nevada state lawmaker Lucy Flores, a Democrat, made the first accusation last week in an essay in New York Magazine's The Cut. On Monday, Amy Lapos told the Hartford Courant that Biden also touched her inappropriately at a 2009 fundraiser in Connecticut. Two additional women, Gaitlin Caruso and DJ Hill, came forward Tuesday sharing their experiences with the New York Times. Biden, who is considering running for president, blah, blah, blah. When was this? This was April of 2019. They say he's considering running for president, has not commented publicly on the accusation since Sunday, when in response to Flores' allegation, he said in a statement that he has offered countless handshakes, hugs, expression of affection, support, and comfort, and not once, never, did I believe I acted inappropriately. Biden added, if it is suggested I did so, I will listen respectfully. Okay.
What did I do again?
Joe Biden apologized for touching children inappropriately. There was a big campaign where people were saying things like, tell Joe to stop touching these kids because Joe Biden's got a problem touching kids.
And he talks about it.
Have you seen this photograph? Man,
Which one?
He's leaning down next to a little boy, and he has his arm around the boy's face, and he's holding his hand over his mouth and whispering.
I'm pretty sure that's his grandson.
That's still a creepy photo, man.
I absolutely agree with you.
Like, what was he doing?
I don't know.
It's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse that it's his grandson.
Have you seen him kiss his granddaughter or whatever on the lip? Who was it? Is his granddaughter?
Yeah, it was his granddaughter, yeah.
What? He kisses her on the lips.
I don't like that. That's gross.
I think
creeps me out.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I'll tell you this. Maybe there's some like family convention you have, like a tradition where you kiss your grandchildren on the lips.
I know there's families that I've seen that do that, but I'm not okay with it.
I'm not a fan. I'll tell you what, you combine this with these videos of Joe Biden. Like, have you seen, what is it, joebiden.info or whatever? Is that the website?
No, what are you talking about?
Where it's like just a bunch of videos of him inappropriately touching kids.
No, I don't really look for those kind of things.
Well, as a meme.
They tend to come across my timeline and I'm just like, ugh, creepy Joe, at it again.
Oh yeah, here we go. We got it. Check it out.
Oh my goodness.
So we're going to keep the focus on Kamala, but I got to show you this first. This is important. Uncle Joe for U.S. Senate. Joe Biden is back to take a hands-on approach to America's problems.
No.
Biden has a good feel for the American people and can smell what they really want deep down.
There's one for Kamala, too.
There is?
Yeah. Check out our Kamala parody site, kamalaharris.info. I'm really curious.
They say Joe is ready for a fight and will give a good old-fashioned pounding to anybody who gets in his way.
That's disgusting.
Okay, hold on. The reason I bring this up is Kamala Harris, playing PR, says, I believe the women who say that Joe touched them inappropriately. Then Joe walks up and says, want to be my running mate? And she goes, oh, definitely. Like, what? That's how creepy this is.
Touch me, Joe. Touch me. I'm horrible.
No, it's an issue of like, you've got all of these creepy accusations. You got legit accusations against Biden.
Well, and we got video of him touching children inappropriately all the time. Like, I've seen it with my own eyes. I don't care that he apologizes. He's a gross old man.
This is great. Look at this.
Oh, my goodness.
Kamala Harris for arresting the people. This is kamalaharris.info. I love it. We're going to go. I have not seen this yet.
I haven't either.
And we'll come back to Biden in a second.
This is great. This is exactly what we're talking about.
kept non-violent criminals in jail to put out forest fires.
Yep, that's
source
true.
LA Times. When federal judges in California wanted to expand its prisoner release program for non-violent criminals, Kamala Harris's lawyers argued against it. Her lawyers claimed that releasing them would cause prisons to lose an important pool of forced labor for putting out California's wildfires, for which the prisoners only get paid $1 an hour.
Wow, and that's some serious work too, like and dangerous work.
I'll be fair.
That's insane.
I'll be fair. It was
How-
her office, not her personally. And now,
That's
hold on, I'm not finished.
Okay.
And also, I'll be fair. Do you think her administration would be any different?
Thank you.
These are the people that she works with. And I think the only reason she was like, oh, heavens me, I didn't realize what they were doing is because she's protecting herself and throwing them under the bus.
Yep.
She didn't care. She knows these people. Here we go. Oh, this is a lot of what we already talked about, but it's great. This is awesome. Put parents in jail for children skipping school and laughed about it. That's great. What else we got? Opposed DNA testing that might get an innocent black man off death row. Congratulations. Defended the death penalty. In 2014, federal judge in California ruled the death penalty unconstitutional. Despite having the ability as Attorney General to defend the ruling or stay out of the matter entirely, Kamala Harris appealed it. She claimed the decision undermines important protections that our courts provide to defendants. Now, to be honest, I'm as far as I understand, conservatives, they're pro-death penalty, right?
Sometimes. Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Didn't they just reinstate the death penalty federally under Trump and Barr?
I don't know anymore about what conservatives.
Right.
It's the line is blurring.
You see, I look at everything about Kamala Harris, and I really do view it from the left, like and libertarian, mind you. I'm opposed to the death penalty. I look at Kamala Harris as a despotic authoritarian, completely. Supported civil asset forfeiture to seize property without any charges. Oh man, I'm sure like every single libertarian is like just fuming right now at this choice. Civil asset forfeiture allows police to seize money, property, and cars under a simple suspicion of being used for criminal activity. Despite no criminal charges, countless innocent people have been robbed under this racket, and police budgets have been funded with the seized property. Even though it is widely disliked and arguably unconstitutional, Kamala Harris has publicly supported it on multiple occasions. She sponsored a bill to allow seizure of profits without charges, and in 2011, she opposed a bill that would have reformed the procedure. And that's from Jacobin. You know what Jacobin is?
No, what?
America's foremost socialist magazine.
Oh, wow.
If the socialists are complaining that Kamala Harris is stealing people's stuff, you got a real problem here.
Yeah.
I love it. Opposed efforts to not report juvenile undocumented immigrants to ICE. Whatever. I think that's about it. This is not Kamala Harris's actual website, and then you can shop.
So share it.
Yeah, seriously.
Wow,
this
man.
is considered satire, it says.
Yes. That
That's
would be
bizarre.
that would
it's
be
not. No, these are actual news stories from actual newspapers.
Well, it's satire in the same way Babylon Bee and The Onion write these incredibly accurate things, and then a month later they come true. I mean,
they're trying to highlight real things she's done, pretending to be for her. That's like the joke. I
know
guess.
it's great.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
I'm gonna tell you about Joe Biden. It looks like these are being made by lefties, to be honest. Because I don't think a conservative would complain about her defending the death penalty.
I can't imagine they would.
And I don't obviously not every single conservative, but right now I think federally they're kicking back up the death penalty. I am no fan of this at all. I absolutely oppose it. It is a tough ethical position. But check this out. They talk about Joe's legislative accomplishments. He's for mass incarceration. I oppose that. He's against gay marriage. I'm against that. He's against abortion rights. This is from the left. The left is going after Biden and Kamala. So how could they possibly win?
They can't.
There's no way, dude.
No, they're throwaways. It's
This-
the rebuild year.
Oh,
I was joking
man.
when I said it, but it's absolutely true.
Right, yeah.
They
Rebuild
know
year.
they're going to lose. Democrats, I mean, they're gone. You've said months ago, someone was saying about how Trump would be the last Republican president. I don't think that's the case. I think the Democrats are the ones that are going to be gone.
You know what, man? There was a period. It goes back and forth based on what the news is, right? Some days you'll see things like this, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's it. How could they possibly win? Now, I see my normie friends, people who don't really pay attention, and they'll see passive memes. They're not paying attention to news.
God, I can't stand that.
I feel like you've got two different kinds of people who are active in news, and it's like populist right versus populist left for the most part. You do have crony establishment elites who are relatively active and know they're playing dirty games. You know, the establishment Democrats teaming up with the establishment never Trumper Republicans. But while I think many on the left are incorrect in their information, they're paying attention way more than normies are. And when I see my friends say things like, we all got to vote for Biden, I'm like, you're for the Iraq war, you're for death penalty and harsh drugs, and you're against abortion, you're for mass incarceration. Look, they got sources for all this stuff. Joe Biden is a nasty dude.
Yep.
And he sniffs little girls.
Oh my gosh.
And now that he's appointed Kamala Harris, I'm just kind of like, nah, man, I don't.
No, they're done.
Yeah. So what is this?
I don't care. I'm gonna pull out my popcorn, make a big, huge bowl, and watch those debates. It's gonna be delicious. I can't wait. I love watching good entertainment, and you got to give it to Trump. He's an entertainer, man. He's a good president and an entertainer. He's gonna be savage.
I laughed. I know, man.
I can't wait.
When they announced Kamala Harris, and I saw all the memes, I was laughing just nonstop. Everybody was ready for this, right? Like Trump had a video about phony Kamala ready to go. Boom! Right when they announced it, dropped.
Yeah. It's
and
funny.
here's the best part. He was in a press briefing apparently when it was announced or whatever. And so he gets asked, and Trump is trying to hold back laughing. It was I started laughing when I saw his face. He made a face like this. He's like trying not to laugh, you know, because the reporter asked him questions about Kamala Harris being a hypocrite. Like, for instance, she claimed that when she was in college, she listened to Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
Right.
But
before they were famous.
Before that music even came out.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody was like, that music didn't even exist when you were in college. What are you talking about? Like, she's lying. And Trump's like trying to hold back laughing because here he is talking to the White House press corps, who's usually very adversarial. And they're like, Mr. President, you put out an ad talking about Kamala as a phony. Could you comment on how she was a phony here, here, and here? And Trump's just like, well, yep, there you go. But it was funny. He was like, a what? A what? And they were like, you called her a phony. And he goes, oh. Like his campaign did it. You know, Trump didn't realize they were dropping the video.
Well, it came from the Trump war room or the Trump camp,
right?
Not from his direct account.
Yeah. So he's sitting there talking to the press, and I don't know who asked him the question, but man, he got teed up perfectly. Like, Kamala Harris is a phony. She's lying. What was that thing where she was asked about whether she smoked or something?
Oh yeah.
And then she was like, my family's Jamaican.
Yeah, I was actually trying to pull up
the story about her family?
About her dad. Her dad was pissed. I mean, I could just go off memory. I was just reading about this earlier. And so she basically said to this reporter who was like, well, did you ever smoke pot in high school? And she goes, half my family's Jamaican. What do you think?
Racist stereotype.
And then her dad comes out and just is like, your grandparents, like your family, me, like that is such a terrible stereotype that is not true, that he was pissed. So she lied. Her family, the Jamaican side of her family, they don't like that whole stereotype. Because it's not
movies. It is.
Yeah.
Man.
So he was pissed about it.
Imagine throwing your own family under the bus to make a joke, accusing your family of being stoners or smoking pot because you were trying to trick people into voting for you by pretending to be something that you were not. She is the last person who should be given power.
Yeah.
You got it pulled up?
No.
Her
I got
dad.
something else.
Hold on.
No.
Should we? Oh yeah. So I mean, I found this, and it seems to be true. I mean, this is Breitbart. I mean, they report on it. So this says Kamala Harris' ancestors owned slaves too.
Well, I got news for you, my friend.
What?
Kamala Harris is accused by the black community of not being black.
Wow.
Because she's Indian and Jamaican.
Yeah. And
so the Washington Post actually writes this, why some African Americans are questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. And I'll give you the quick gist of it. It's really interesting. Her family, I believe it's her dad, who was Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
And her mom was an Indian. It was her mom. Actually, let me read it to make sure I get it all right. They say, online stories have... Actually, hold on. This is from June 28th, 2019. Online stories have circulated suggesting the lawmaker is not African American because her parents are immigrants and she spent some of her childhood in Canada. During a February appearance on the Breakfast Club radio show, host DJ Envy and Charlemagne the God asked Harris about that. Harris pushed back, saying, I'm black and I'm proud of being black. I was born black. I will die black, she said. I am not going to make excuses for anybody because they don't understand. She went on to criticize those who question her racial identity. She said, "I think they don't understand who black people are. I'm not going to spend my time trying to educate people about who black people are because right now, frankly, I'm focused on, for example, an initiative that I have that is called the Lift Act. That is about lifting folks out of poverty." They go on to mention, here we go. They say, Harris has had life experiences different from those of many black Americans. Her father is a Jamaican immigrant. Her mother is a Tamil Indian immigrant. Her husband is a white man from New York, while she was born in Oakland, a city with a rich history of African-American activism. Harris spent her early childhood in Berkeley, California, and worshipped at a Hindu temple in addition to attending Black Baptist services. She attended high school in Montreal before returning to the United States for college at Howard University, a historically black college. These differences may help explain why some voters want to know more about her background. Some want to know that she understands some of the issues affecting black Americans since the emancipation of slaves. Harris has said that she supports reparations for the descendants of black people who were enslaved in America. But those asking more questions have attempted to explain the intentions behind their inquiries. Basically, well, I'll read the quote. "This whole argument is that we're saying she's not black is really ridiculous." Yvette Carnell, co-founder of the American Descendants of Slavery movement. We're saying there is a difference in the justice demands for people who are descendants of slaves in this country and those who were enslaved in Jamaica. Carnell fleshed out the argument further and in a tweet. "Kamala Harris doesn't have that in her lineage. She's anchored in two different immigrant parents. It's really simple. Since Kamala Harris doesn't have the experience in her background or a track record that expresses this understanding, and she announced during MLK week at Howard University, of course she's going to get pressed hard on the specificity of her ADOS agenda." They say ADOS is American Descendants of Slavery. So I'll put it simply, man, she's literally not African.
Okay, and then wait, and what you just said, I don't know where that just disappeared to.
Down here, the ADOS?
Yeah.
American this one?
Right, so, but above this, it was saying, we're saying there's a difference in the justice demands for people who are descendants of slaves in this country and those who were enslaved in Jamaica. Enter...
Right, it's right next to it. We got it. Breitbart.
Okay. This is from her own father, Donald Harris.
It's actually from the Free Beacon. So Breitbart is just quoting the Free Beacon.
Okay, so Donald Harris says he's a Stanford University economics professor, revealed in 2018 that his grandmother was a descendant of Hamilton Brown, the namesake of Brownstown in northern Jamaica. "My roots go back," quote, "within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Miss Crishy." I might have said that wrong, but it's a Christina Brown. Yeah.
Her maiden name, Christina Brown.
Oh, Christina Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who was on record as a plantation and slave owner and founder of Brownstown. So this is her own father saying that they're descendants of slave owners.
This is the problem with the weird leftist identity politics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris she's not African. She can say she's black and all that stuff because I'm far be it from me to tell anybody about what any of that stuff represents.
Yeah.
I'll defer to other people. But it looks like this. Let me see if I can pull up the Free Beacon. It looks like, there it is, Washington Free Beacon. Kamala Harris's ancestors owned slaves, her father said. Now, I am not going to punish Kamala for the sins
of
her
course
fathers,
not.
right?
Right.
And that's one of the big problems we have. But think about what she's claiming and trying to represent versus what her history actually is. Both her parents are immigrants. She has... They does not go beyond into American ancestry pertaining to slaves, nor she was not a victim of nor a perpetrator of anything having to do with that American history.
Yep.
Now, I think it's fair to point out, it's possible that I think it's likely, was a victim of racial discrimination, and in probably various forms these things happen, and that's fair to point out. But you take a look at her history, and that flies in the face of what she's claiming to represent for sure. It's the inversion of what these other people were saying about her. And then a lot of the arguments in defense of Kamala ignored what they were actually saying. They were like, how silly to claim that Kamala isn't really black. That's so stupid. And that's the media's game. Instead of being honest and showing, the Washington Post, mind you, did a good job. But a lot of the pundits, a lot of these politicos and pundits try and skew. This is the game they play. Instead of saying straight up what they're actually talking about is that she is not a descendant of slavery. She does not have these experience. She went to high school in Montreal. She grew up in a very, activisty area in Berkeley.
Yeah.
She is not somebody who experienced, say, the hardships of Chicago or New York or any one of these other places. She actually had it pretty good, it sounds.
Yep.
Well, she's going to, of course, play that card. That's the modern identity politics that we get right now with people like Kamala Harris and the Democrats. You know, Ben Shapiro tweeted something. It was interesting. He called her far left.
Okay.
And people immediately were like, she is not far left. She is more of these kind of like corporate centrist authoritarians. But then Ben Shapiro came back out and said, actually, and he posted a list of all the things she's endorsed. And it would seem like, the way I would put it is, she's desperately trying to pander to the progressives.
Yep.
And the crazy thing to me about choosing, you're right, a recovery year, is that what it's called?
A rebuild.
A rebuild. That's like, what is that, like when a sports team...
Yeah, when the sport, like in 1998, when the Bulls kind of were coming to
they lost their
in
star
the Last
players.
Dance, they talk about how they're going to do a rebuild year, which is because they get so big that they can't afford to pay all their players.
Right,
because
right,
all
right.
their players are now worth their championship winners.
Yup.
So they have to trade them off so that they can save money to then, rebuild. So this is the Democrats' rebuild.
So it makes sense, man. It really does.
Yep.
The interesting thing, because I've heard the argument made before that they don't actually think they're going to win. But why are the polls claiming they're going to win? Is this like they're going for a B team, but hoping that they can win off of like past recognition or hate for Trump? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that they maybe still think that they can actually win because of the way that they're pushing it all out. Like they're playing the part like they're trying to win, but everything about Kamala is like she's horrible. Harris, seriously. And I don't know why anyone would want to defend her and let her be this close to being president. She's a terrible woman.
I tweeted this out, and I know it's a joke. All right, so here, let's. So this is the cop Kamala meme. It's funny, and I really don't think that conservatives are going to look at this and get a kick out of it. I do. I view the criticism much like a lot of these other people coming from the left, like she's an authoritarian, despotic individual. Now, personally, I think this photo is hilarious. I don't think all cops are bad, like a lot of these far leftists like to claim. But why would the left, who characterize her in this way, ever give their support to this woman? The only reason, in my opinion, they would choose Kamala is because they're like, let's burn it down.
Yep.
Like Joe
Exactly.
Biden's sleeping in the wheelchair with the blanket over his hips in the sun, and there's some people sitting there going like, I'm bored. You want to start a fire? Yeah.
Right, that's literally what many of these Antifa types are doing.
And they're
bored and lighting fires.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, hey, Kamala, come down here. Why? We're going to burn it down. And she's like, ooh, I'm down.
No, she's thinking like, ooh, I can lock them all up. Yes.
No,
Yes,
a
do
better
your
one is
crimes.
she's totally oblivious. They're like, you want to burn everything down? Like, yeah. Hey, Kamala, you want to be the running mate? And she's like, ooh, I do. And she runs, and they're all laughing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all of these tweets from many on the left. There's a really famous viral post from the progressive personality Kyle Kalinske.
Okay.
And he said something like, he said I'm not going to be supporting the Democratic ticket. So if you want to blame me for, costing the election, by all means do so, please. Something to that effect. He was basically saying like, do it. Claim I'm the one, because they need people like him to actually win. And so for a while, it made sense what Biden was doing.
Yeah.
Biden was the VP in an administration for a president they called the deporter in chief.
Yep.
They criticized Joe Biden over this. Then when Joe Biden's debating Bernie, he's like, I'm calling for a moratorium on deportations, and decriminalizing border crossings. Look, it's like, wow, that's a 180 from where you were under the Obama administration. It made sense. He was trying to pander to a far left, but I'll tell you what, man, you can't win that, right?
Nope.
Because the far left and regular liberals are too far apart. It creates this huge gap. You can't get them all. They disagree. I mean, the far left doesn't like liberals. They rag on them all the time. So it's real, and not all of them, but the more radical ones. So then I guess the idea was do a 180. They start embracing Trump's positions like buy American, buy back better,
Build back better.
build back better. There it is.
God, it's make America great again. You can't beat it.
Yep.
Trump's got it already. It's too late.
Didn't he try like he made something that said like buy American plan or something?
Yeah.
Man, that's ridiculous.
I've told you, he's trying to cater to the Trump fans, the people who, are like, you know what, Trump's doing it right. And he's like, oh man, how can I build back better? That's basically the same thing, right? And Buy American Act. That's it.
That's crazy to me. It's like this is why I was saying early on you know, my mind snapped when I was like, he really did it. He really picked Kamala. They must want Trump to win.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I'm sorry. Because I don't think a human being could. I think if you were that stupid, you wouldn't have like, you wouldn't be able to breathe properly. Like you'd be so dumb, you wouldn't be able to coordinate your movements to actually walk around. But you think I'm joking. No, listen. Let's go back in time.
Okay.
Russiagate blew up in their faces.
Yep.
That Trump ended up raising record amounts of money when that was proven to be BS.
True.
Then they go for another scandal. They go for impeachment, or they have the whistleblower in Ukraine gate.
Right.
Trump raises record amounts of money. They do impeachment. Trump raises record amounts of money. After impeachment failed, Trump's approval rating skyrockets.
Right.
I'm like, how is it that every single time they help Trump, how dumb do you have to be?
So
they just can't get it.
I don't think they're dumb. And I think you mentioned something about this last night. You were talking about how he, no matter what Trump does, he's wrong, right? So
Yep.
even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yep.
So the Democrats are doing everything wrong, right? No. They've gotten absolutely nothing right. They would be right at least a couple times, at least here and there.
No, but
not
they
even
have
once.
been. They have.
Really?
Yes.
What's that?
The left, when they shut down Trump's press events on COVID, because it was benefiting him. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.